Point 11. English protocol about lying in the casualties or in what they can. English has suffered many wars with the Spanish, and also from a lot of time before ago, they have been taking care of not saying the truth when they when they have lost things. We had the samples of the combats of the princes or about the glorious. We know how they painted to the public opinion in England, and we know the truth about those combats. Or the amount of prisoners ship prisoners that were made in the decades around 1750, more or less, that their parliament, they were showing to their parliament some figures, and in the Gaceta of Madrid were appearing different figures about the prisoners that each one was making in the war. Or how the English lied in the Battle of the Albuera during the War of the Independence against Napoleon. It could be the writer Napier or any other. It could be, or what happened to Cartagena de Indias, to their war and their assault to Cartagena de Indias with Vernon, or what happened in Cape Passaro. That is not a victory because it's not a battle, because the official boss English were telling the day before or days before to the Spanish bosses that they were not going to attack them, and later and immediately they attack with falsity, with will. What was happening is that the English bosses were paid by the French, one of the side of the French, or anyone, or different alliances around Europe, and he attacked in Trajan. That is Cape Passaro. Or, for example, the attack to the Mercedes ship before the Battle of Trafalgar, that was attacked without the declaration of war to a civil ship. The use of a red bullet, and they were using red bullet when it was agreed not to use it, and they were using it yet when they were in bad conditions, like the episode of the San Hermenegildo and the other ship, where we had two warships sunk, the Spanish shooting each other. Or we had the example of the bombing to the civils, to the town civils in the Battle of Algeciras before the Trafalgar. In the Battle of Algeciras, the English were suffering good bombing from the batteries in the land and other ships, and the only possibility was to shoot to the houses of the civilians. So we can see along history who are the bad guys of the films normally. Also, you have to understand that the English, they think they are defending their country, and it's not that. They are defending the avarice, the ambition of the bankers, the businessmen, the unfair rulers, and they bring to the English to unfair or silly wars. So they are the bad guys. Many of the wars we have had with them, they are the ones that begin because they have they want revenge from previous episodes, and they attack without saying anything. It's like in Pearl Harbor, the same they did, in Cape Passaro, in La Mercedes. What I want to mean is that the English and many others, everyone in the world, they lie a lot of time, and it's a protocol. They lie about the things about wars. The Spanish is different. We lie much less. It's very difficult to find a lie in the Spanish history. Very difficult. I haven't found yet one. Well, next point, 12. The pumps for putting water out of the ship. The English say they have a double machine pumps, and that's the reason they could save their ships. And the Spanish General Escaño says that certain Spanish warships would have the same pumps that were carrying the Spanish ship Santa Ana, that this certain ship wouldn't have sunk. But in the flotilla of repression that came out of Cadiz after the battle, because a flotilla, Spanish flotilla, allied flotilla, came out of Cadiz after the battle to try to retake some of the ships that the English had taken, or try to retake ships that were going to sink. No, these warships of the flotilla were not damaged, or very little, because it was inside the storm when they decided to go out. So these ships didn't take full part of the battle, or very little, but were very little damage, or not importantly. And despite they were not damaged from the battle, they sank the Rayo, the San Francisco de Asís, the Neptune, and the Indomitable, without being damaged or very little, without importance of the water lines that they have in the hull. They sank. And this means that if in the storm, by damage of the combat or damage of the storm, French and Spanish ships sank independently, if they have lines of water from the combat, how 20 or 30 English ships that could be damaged from the battle and also from the storm, how no one sank, and just English and French, Spanish and French. We have the example of the Royal Sovereign, that is said that it didn't took part in the battle because it arrived the 22nd, but despite of that, it was carrying things to Malta, and despite not taking part in the battle, it sunk in the coast or in certain piers that I will say later. Next point, 13 point, conclusion. There are many proofs, signals, that the official English version of the Battle of Trafalgar, about what they bring to the battle or about what they lose in the battle, is a false version. The best way to show it is to find a ship under the sea and to find the characteristics as being English and from the Battle of Trafalgar, and to show the world that the English have lied. But you know, from the point 5 of this work, of this article, we know the point 5 that the English have lied in the amount of ships that brought to the battle. It's not 31 or 32 or 35, 36, including the smallest one. It is 48 what they brought. Well, next point, 14. Localization of the sunk ships. According to the extraofficial relation of English losses, they are noted certain places where they have lost the English warships. Apart from the one that could have gone to the Moroccan coast, that was one that later was taken to Gibraltar. In this case, by the Spanish coast, we know that it was sunk in the combat the Prince of Wales and the Britannia. We know that the main sticks of the ship, of the Neptune, English Neptune, and the wheel, the low part of the wheel of the ship, of the Prince, not the Prince of Wales, but the Prince, have been found in the beach of Conil. We know that is a reality, that these two parts or these two ships have been found in the beach of Conil, which clearly points that they have been lost, the ships, because these are the main sticks of the ship and the low part of the wheel, of the driving wheel, the low part that is below the water and is very big. Bien, also we know that it has been sunk in the beach of Santa Maria, the warship Tiger. We know that the English have burned at 5 or 6 leguas. I don't know in English what this is, more than miles. To the northwest of Cadiz, the ship Tonan, burned by the English, the ship Tonan, warship. Then sunk after the combat in the coast of Rota, Le Spartiate, English ship. Then sank in the coast of Conil and also in the coast of Sanlúcar, the Minotaur warship and the Colossus warship. Note that there were two Colossus in the English fleet. One in one division, Colossus, another in one division, the Bickerton division, another Colossus, that was the one that sank in Conil or Sanlúcar. Next. And then we have another ship that gave against the coast of Conil, is the Royal Sovereign, that was carrying things to Malta. Now we know the Spanish Institute from Andalusia about the historical patrimonio, and depending of it, the CAS, Center for Submarine Archaeology, they have made a project about the ships sunk in Trafalgar, and it's a PDF Adobe project that you can search in the internet. It's in that instituto. It's called in Spanish Los Naufragios de la Batalla de Trafalgar. In this work, it is noted that it is defined the Area 3 of the study. The Area 3 is the one called Conil Santi Petri, and according to the documental study of the battle, in this area just was sunk the warship Fogox, French, and it has been identified as the ship underwater that is in the Morenas, in front of the beach of Camposoto in Santi Petri in the south. But more important, what it says, this work of the EAPH, of the Institute and the Center of Archaeology, this work says that they are identified in three more places with accumulation of guns in this area 3, that is the Conil Santi Petri area. They know three ships with accumulation of guns, and yet it is known that the ship Focus in Trafalgar was sunk and is probably one of these. No? Also, you can find video in YouTube about called Trafalgar Pecio, or Pecio de Trafalgar. Pecio means all ship sunk in down the sea in the water in Spanish, all one, or normally. And he says that at 3 miles to the west from the fishing port of Conil, there is accumulation of guns. That probably is one of these 3 accumulation of guns set. And it is a comment in this video that says that this accumulation of guns that is near the fishing port of Conil should be the Redoutable, and that is not true, because the Redoutable was sunk in the area 5 of the project, that is in Rota Chipiona. And we know that the extraofficial list from Colin Wood says that the English losses of the English division in Trafalgar were about Conil, say that main sticks of the Neptune and part important of the wheeling drive of the Prince have been found in the coast of Conil. Well, that's an addition from the observation. We know that a Minotaur and Colossus to the coast of Conil and Sanlúcar, and Royal Sovereign against the coast of Conil. So that we know that there are ships sunk in Conil, and we know that they cannot be French or Spanish from Trafalgar. And if we extract pieces that we can, and we see that it's English and from Trafalgar or from the age, or by elimination we know that should be from Trafalgar, we could break the English belief about the battle. We have open a lie with the 0.5 here, and if we find archaeological rest in the sea, we really would confirm maybe the extraofficial list and give credibility to the different data about human losses also that is in the list. We open a new way for research. We are going now point 15.